Hello, good afternoon, Brooke.
Hi, good afternoon. How are you?
I'm good. Happy Friday. We're back at the Friday Five. I'm excited to jump in today and talk a little bit about the event we had yesterday. So, the Greater Alabama Council for Boy Scouts of America had their American Values Luncheon yesterday. You were there to support on site, and I heard that the check-in process was seamless, super easy, no waits. Everything just went really well. And I'd love to talk today about how that process went well, what made it go well. So I'd love to hear that from you, especially because you were plugged in and there for that.
Sure. Yes, it's always great to get to actually physically participate in some of our client events, which we can't always do. ABL is a 1,200 people, I believe, present
Mhm.
yesterday. That event has been as large as 3,000, and they are a client we've worked with for several years now, but particularly through COVID. So it's we're all getting back into the event saddle, so to speak. So
Mhm.
it's rebuilding. They held it as a hybrid event, so there was a virtual audience and an in-person audience,
Mhm.
and but 1,200 people coming in the door, and for a luncheon event, that means everybody shows up within the same span of time. So,
Mhm.
and their check-in process could not have been more smooth. They had 5 people there at the check-in table, which actually isn't very many for that kind of volume, and worth pointing out. But what made it so smooth is that, like so many events, this event, I'm going to share my screen here. This event had a lot of sponsor tables. And
Mhm.
so a lot of like, while there were tickets sold online, the vast majority of tickets were sponsorship tickets.
Right.
And it's a process that has stumped many nonprofits. It becomes a very manual process, very difficult to get names.
Mhm.
But the reason that it went so smoothly yesterday is because of what happened prior to yesterday, which goes to how easy it is. We built years ago, with the advice. We walked through with a nonprofit who runs a heavy sponsor model event, and we designed our table feature process entirely around their process. And so as
Mhm.
a result, it is really, I think that it is the easiest to use process I've witnessed, at least on the market. I'm not sure we've seen everything, but it's very easy for clients to use. So this is just a glimpse into this. There are 152 tables entered right here into this event. It's very easy to create a table it's very easy to create a table for somebody and send them a link to the table. And what
Mhm.
they sent their sponsors and all of their table guests is a link that looks like this. And this is
Mhm.
an example of the head table. There were 8 people sitting at the head table. And so they were able to fill in the names of everyone that sits at the head table. And so what that means is that as it's really simple for people to use. And so as people are able to fill in the names of their guests, all of that populates onto the check-in app, and and the client is able to go back and put in the table number that goes alongside each table. And so that means that very easily you have every guest at their table, their table host name, all on the check-in app.
Mhm.
It also meant we were able to automate an email to all of the guests in advance that was a welcome email sent out yesterday morning.
Mhm.
And it basically said, "We look forward to seeing you. You're at table 30. You're a guest of," and it had their table host name, and it invited any questions. And the only thing we ran into yesterday, we learned, is that people still needed a parking verification, which that was one of the things that drove them to the check-in table.
Mhm.
Um, and a map of the room, sometimes not knowing in a big room where it is. And so our takeaway
Mhm.
yesterday was those things needed to also be in that email. And there was no reason we couldn't have attached those things and automated that
Mhm.
process for them as well, which would have really made for a smooth day yesterday. So, but no one ever waited at the check-in table. Everyone knew where to go, and it just really made for a really seamless feel, and I know made the Boy Scouts look very professional.
Mhm.
Um, the best part was when I got there, which again I'm not on site very often, but
Right.
when I was there, I walked up and the ladies who were working the check-in table were like, "Oh, this is the best thing. It's so much better than what we did in the past." And so making nonprofit teams like that who really are doing that hard, heavy lifting behind the scenes,
Mhm.
it just made me so happy to know that it was really making their job a lot easier. But it just
Absolutely.
goes back to an easy online way of sponsors to give you their name. forms.
Yeah,
And
absolutely.
that's just the bottom line and why
Yeah,
that works so well. So we're really proud of this feature, and it's really rewarding to see it. It wasn't really used in COVID, so
right.
it's interesting to come back and see like, oh yeah, this is it. This is when you this is the this is the symptom. This is the positive outcome of a really good feature, and we
Yeah.
love it. So yeah,
Yeah, that's awesome.
thanks for the question.
Substitute that pencil paper method for something quick. Instead of spending 5 minutes sifting through the pages, take two
Hmm.
seconds to check somebody in. Makes it so much easier for the volunteers and for the
Hmm.
guests coming in. It's fantastic.
Yeah,
So,
it
yeah,
was
I
it was a
love.
great day. So the only other thing I would say is we see other processes out there when you're thinking about using a process for your sponsors. Go through the process yourself. If it
Mhm.
seems, I mean, I will say as easy as this is, it's literally a link. It's a click of a button. You're not asking them to log in. They don't have to enter a code. They don't have to do anything. And even then, it's still hard. I don't. It is
Mhm.
still hard to get sponsors to give you their names. That we have not changed humans in this process.
Right.
So if there is the least bit of friction in this process, it's already hard enough.
Mhm.
So I would just say like to go through that process yourself, and if it's hard, find another one. Find
Mhm.
Swell.
Find Swell. Yeah, that's the
Find
answer.
Swell. That's
Use
the
Swell,
answer.
everybody.
That's great. Well, thanks for the 5 minutes. This is fun. Always is.
Absolutely. Thanks, Brooke. And everybody, you've heard it here first. Use Swell. Happy Friday,
Bye.
everybody.
Bye.
Bye.